So in these examples, we're going to take a look at how turning things into rational exponents can often actually simplify problems for us. So we take a look at example A, we have the 8th root of x to the 4th power. And normally what we would do is, if we saw something like this, is we would say that it's already in simplest form, right? Because the index is 8, we would need at least 8 x's to make a group of 8 and simplify it further. But that's not exactly true anymore, because now we know how to use rational exponents. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this radical and I'm going to work backwards from what we've been doing. I'm going to rewrite this with a fraction exponent, so a rational exponent. So I'm going to think backwards. I know that my base is x, and the exponent that goes with our base, if we remember, is the numerator of our fraction, and the index is always the denominator of our fraction. So now we can take a look at that exponent, and we realize that 4/8 can be simplified. 4/8 is the same as 1/2. And now we can't really simplify that fraction anymore, but what we can do is we can put it back into radical form, but it's going to be in the simplest radical form. So this is going to be x to the 1st power inside the radical, so that's just x, and my index is going to be 2. So the 8th root of x to the 4th actually simplifies to the square root of x. Same idea in example B. If we take the 6th root of 25, we can't find 6 of the same number that goes into 25. So let's go ahead and rewrite this with a fraction exponent. So 25 is my base. The exponent of 25 technically is a 1. So I'm going to write this to the 1/6 power. And you might be thinking, well, there's still nothing that we can do, but there actually is. We can rewrite 25 as 5 squared. All right, so I'm just going to put this in parentheses so you guys can see how we're about to do that. So 25 is the same thing as 5 squared. And then I still have all of that raised to the 1/6 power. So now I have a power raised to a power. So I can go ahead and multiply these. So 2 times 1/6 is 2/6. And 2/6 simplifies to 1/3. And now I'm ready to put that back into radical form. So I'm going to go ahead and make my radical. This is going to be 5 to the 1st power, which is just 5. And my index is 3. So the cube root of 5 is the simpler version of the 6th root of 25. In example C, now we're using more than one radical. So normally we would not be able to multiply these radicals because the indexes are not the same. So we're going to go ahead and use rational exponents, and we're going to see that we actually can simplify these two, even though they're not technically, they don't have the same index. So I'm going to rewrite this as a fractional exponent. So the exponent here is technically 1. And because there's no index, we know we can assume that that's a 2. So this is going to be 1/2, 1/2, times x is my base again. So I can see that my exponent here is 1. So that's going to be 1/4 as my exponent. All right, and remember that when we're multiplying bases, we actually add the exponent. So I'm going to combine this by doing x to the 1/2 plus 1/4. And again, because we're adding fractions, we need common denominators, so I'm going to rewrite 1/2 as 2/4. Alright, so 2/4 plus 1/4 is 3/4. And I can go ahead and write that in radical form again. So this is going to be x cubed inside the radical, and my index is going to be 4. So I've definitely simplified this because now, instead of having 2 radicals, I have 1. And these are the same value. Alright, and then our very last example, we're going to do the same thing, but now we're dividing, so we're going to do something a little bit different with the exponents. So first of all, let's rewrite the numerator in fraction form. So this is going to be x to the 1/2 power. my denominator is going to be x to the 1/3 power. Alright, so because we have the same bases, we can subtract those exponents. So this is going to be x to the 1/2 minus 1/3. So once again, we need common denominators. In this case, that's going to be a denominator of 6. So that is 3/6 minus 2/6. Right, and that equals 1/6. So what I want to do is I want to rewrite that in radical form. So this is going to be the 6th root of x to the 1st power. So 6th root of x. And once again, you can see this is much simpler than having two radicals.